It's time to break it down. It's time to break it down. Hello everyone, News Reviews and More here, and today I'm going to be breaking down anti-meta for you. Before you guys actually start to watch this video, I guys want to let you know that I'm very appreciative for all the subscribers that I've recently gotten. I'm almost at 100, I'm at 99 right now. I might be 100 by the time I upload this video. But I want to thank you guys so much. I appreciate it immensely, and as well as the people who are doing participating in the gift thing. And you can find that video right there. If you guys don't know about it already, go check it out. It's a whole gift thing I did and gave out to all the YouTubers. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And we're going to begin with this. Let you guys know it's not a deck profile either. So it's more of just like breaking down the deck if you guys haven't seen this before, because I know I have a lot of new subscribers right now and they probably don't know what I'm doing. So anti-meta is a deck that pretty much is against the meta. That makes sense, right? This deck stops cards that are pretty big. So like this deck, let me rephrase that. This deck stops pretty much any deck. Now you might be wondering why isn't this deck topping? The reason being is because this deck doesn't have inconsistency problems, but it's not fast enough. It's definitely not fast enough. So I'm just going to break it down for you guys. Anti-meta consists of about a lot of traps and a lot of monsters and somewhat a little bit of spells. The staple spells and maybe a pod duality or two and some lances. But I'm going to explain that later. We're going to start off with the monsters, and they like to run light and dark monsters usually so they can bring out Chaos Rush or BLS, because those cards just remove stuff, and people don't like people having stuff being removed. This stuff negates, this card negates stuff. This doesn't let you add cards from deck to hand. So Thunder King is a very good card to run an anti-meta. It's my favorite card in the deck. It's the best normal summon in the game, in my opinion, first turn. And you can end up running 3 of them. So 3 is very good. It's first turn normal summon, very good. Second turn, not too bad if they decide to set one, unless it happens to be like a Raikou or a Snowman Eater, or that's about it. But yeah, so this guy is very good in the anti-meta deck. Next, I like to always run Doom Cows. Like, Doom Cow is one of my favorite cards in the main deck as well. The reason being is because he has 1800 defense, and you can set him, they can attack into him, you can turn into attack mode, attack, and you also have a negation for the next turn. So yeah, he's a very good card. He negates anything. It causes them to discard their max C that you don't want them using on your tour guide if you happen to run it in your anti-meta build. But I just find this guy amazing, and you gotta be careful with him because you can actually, like, say you had a Doom Cow and Thunder King on the field, you want to negate, this guy would negate the negation, and you had nothing on the field, and they still have their monster. So be careful with your Doom Cow, but you gotta play around it sometimes yourself, as well as your opponent always has to play around it because it's just so darn good. Next is Breaker the Magical Warrior. I love this card. I love this card. This card goes to 1900 attack. He is your MST. He is your Heavy Storm. Like, I know he's not really going to pop more than one, but he can, which I'll show you in a little bit. But he's just amazing. Like, he is my favorite card. My favorite back row destroying card. I can't say every card's my favorite card. I already said Doom Cow and Thunder King are. So, I just love this guy. He baits out the warnings. This guy gets rid of the solemn warnings. He gets rid of the bottomless trap holes. He gets rid of anything that stops summons. He gets rid of the torrentials. Because they're too afraid to activate their stuff. They have to activate their stuff because they don't want this guy to get rid of the D-Prison or the Sakuratsu Armor or Mirror Force. You know, I'm just giving you examples. No one runs Sakuratsu Armor, if that's how you pronounce it. But I just find this guy so darn good. Yeah, so this is probably like the main engine of anti-meta right here. It's my favorite cards in the deck. Not really the engine, but because there is no engine. It's just normal summon, attack, pass kind of thing. It's a very easy deck to play, and it's very fun too. And it stops a lot of good decks. Next, I would like to talk about Banisher of the Radiance. Banisher of the Radiance is a card that you might not see in too many anti-meta decks. The reason being is because it only has 1600 attack. Well, you can protect that card with many trap cards that you run and Lance. I love this card a lot because the reason being is because you know how Macro Rabbit is just so good right now. This card is just so good right now. Just no one's running it because they rather use a normal summon on something else. But in an anti-meta deck, you can normal summon this and not have a problem because this guy's going to probably be your win condition as well as Thunder King and Breaker and Doom Cow. So monsters are your win condition. You have no big, you're not going to use the extra deck too often. So this guy is just very good. I love him a lot. And I find that running 2 of them in any anti-meta deck is pretty good unless you're running like a chaos anti-meta, which involves your graveyard. And the stuff I'm talking about is going to be a little bit of both. But now we're going to move on to Cyber Dragon. Not too many people like to main this in the anti-meta. A lot of people do. Some people end up maining 1, some people end up maining 2, some people maining 0. To get to the point, this card is a very good card. He is a 2100 beat stick. He gets rid of the Saber Source. He gets rid of the Thunder King. He gets rid of their big beat sticks. You can Chimera Tech with their machines too. He's just a decent card overall. I don't really like maining him in the deck, but he's a good card to think if you need room. And he's a free special summon too. He's a free summon, so and he probably baits out back rows just like Breaker. Alright, now those are the main monsters I would say in an anti-meta deck. It's the Thunder King, the Doom Cow, and the Breaker, and maybe the Banisher. You can talk about Card Trooper stuff, which I will get to in a little bit. But yeah, so Green Kappa. This card sees like no play right now. I just thought it would be okay to throw in because we like to pop back row, and there's not too many decks that run back row right now. But I find this card just a stun card. Like they can attack it. You pop their 2 spell and traps, and they're like, oh dang, he got me there. You know, it's just a card. I don't know. It's just a thought. It's not that good, but I like him a lot because he pops 2 back row, and like yeah, he's just so good. Okay, so flip effect monsters. Moving on to Gravekeeper Spy. Now Gravekeeper Spy is like a tech we've seen it in scraps, we've seen it in plants, we've seen it in a lot of decks. It has 2000 defense. That is pretty hard to get over. It's like getting over a cowboy in some way or form. But this guy and a Descendant, which I don't have at the moment, is just a good little tech to run in your anti-meta deck. That's 3 darks for your Dark Arm. That's like attack, special summon another spy. That's a Utopia, that's a Gemini Pro, that's a Cowboy right there. And then you summon Descendant, that's a plus, like, I don't know, not like plussing, but you're going to pop their back row with your cards, and then you have a Descendant on the field you attack directly. So I like Gravekeeper Spy a lot. He's just an option. I'm just giving you guys a whole bunch of options. That's what these videos are for. They're not really like a deck profile. They're just to help you out, to help you build your deck. So if you're running anti-meta, I'm just giving you options you can run. So we're going to move on to the next monster. That's a flip effect monster, Snowman Eater. Well, not really a flip effect, but when you flip face up, you get the point. He gets his effect. He's just so good right now in the format. With Dino Rabbit being immensely popular, like we see so much Dino Rabbit right now on Dueling Network. I've seen like 1,000 Dino Rabbits. Every duel I play is Dino Rabbit, Dino Rabbit, Dino Rabbit. My last video, duel against Dino Rabbit. This card is just so good. It stalls, it sets, it flips, it destroys, it stalls. You get the point. It's just so good. This guy and the Spear Reaper, which I don't have one at the moment, sadly enough. These guys, Spear Reaper, pretend the Spear Reaper. These two are just great for stalling and destroying and popping cards out of people's hands if this was a Spear Reaper. And I just love these cards. They're just good to stall. They're good to side. I wouldn't main too many of these guys. I would definitely main 1 if I were you, and then side a couple, but not 3. Well, side them if you want. It's up to you. It's a personal preference. Like I said, I'm just giving you options, and you make the deck from there. Sangan, and let me get my tour guides. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I forgot about tour guides. How could I forget about tour guide? And tour guide, they are very good in this deck because they kind of thin out your deck to get to your other monsters. This card's just a good engine in general. With Night Assailant as well, this deck is just, with Night Assailant, it just thins out the deck. It makes it a little faster than it already is. And I don't know, drawing 2 tour guide isn't a bad thing because tour guide just gets warned all the time, and you can bring out XYZs that you have in your extra deck. And I feel that these cards right here is just a good engine to have in any deck right now, except for a deck like Mermules and Girgia. So, and some other decks that I really don't have off the top of my head. Now I like to talk about the little guys in the deck. By the little guys, I mean the little monsters such as Card Trooper, Gale, and Mole. These guys are little tech cards you can run. Card Trooper being the fact that you can draw a card when he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, and you get to mill and add darks and lights to your deck from your graveyard. I really don't like this in anti-meta that much, except for the fact that you get to draw a card and it speeds up the deck a little bit. But the fact that you have to mill is just kind of iffy because you kind of want to draw your monsters and not mill them unless you're playing like Chaos anti-meta or Heroes, I guess, because like Hero anti-meta needs their Miracle Fusion. I don't know. I don't find them too great in the anti-meta builds, but he's definitely an option if you need some room. Mole, It's probably like one of the trolliest cards in the game. The reason being is because you can pop their XYZs, you can pop their Lagia if they don't negate it, you can pop their Doka if they don't negate it. And, you know, you can pop stuff. It's just so good. First turn Z-mains, I say no way. Like, you just pop that Z-mains back to their extra deck, and the materials go to the graveyard. And if you have Banisher on the field, they get removed from play. And I just find this card so dang trolly. So yeah, that card's good. Next is Gale. He halves. He's a tuner. You can run Blackwings in your extra deck. I find him very good as well. He is just a Blackwing card. So if you mind control Blackwing, special summon, synchro for whatever, and go on. So next I want to talk about the boss monsters. Those are the little monsters. Boss monsters, we have Dark Arm Dragon, Chaos Sorcerer, BLS. These are options. I wouldn't really highly recommend Dark Arm as much as Chaos Sorcerer and BLS. The reason being is because you won't always have those darks in your grave unless you're running like Chaos anti-meta or like with Triple Card Trooper or Raikou or something. But yeah, I don't really like them that much, but these two guys are just awesome. They work together, they're brothers, and they're just beast. So that's all the monsters for it. I'm going to talk about the spells now. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit because that was already like 6 minutes, something like that, 10 minutes, I don't even know. So Pod Duality keeps up the consistency in the deck. It's like staple in every anti-meta deck. Sadly, it's at 2, but it speeds up the deck so much, and it gets you 3 cards deeper into the deck to get to that Thunder King, to get to that Deep Prison, to get to whatever else I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. Alright, so that card is just so good. I highly recommend running 2 of them. And then Forbidden Lands. With your Breaker, this is like, again, I talked about my Let's Break Down Chaos Dragons. I said it was a plus in my Chaos Dragons video, but I deny that now because I just realized, my friend made me realize that it's not a plus. But if you get to attack for 800, I guess that's somewhat of a plus. So pretty much you summon, they bottomless, you chain Lance, you use effect, you pop their back row, or you attack first, and then you use their effect to pop the back row. And they just did damage, and you got rid of 2 of their back row. I just love the Breaker with the Lance. Lance is just such a good card. It protects your monsters, protects your Thunder Kings, and whatnot. You can side these. These cards are not bad. You guys all know what it does. It removes stuff from play. Not a bad card to side. Not at all. I'm going to speed it up a little bit faster here. Now we're going to move on to traps. Those were all the spells I had to talk about. You run your obvious MST if you want to, because I like to run Breaker instead. You can run your Dark Hole, your Heavy Storm, your Reborn, and whatnot. Next, Dimensional Prison. This card is probably so it's very good right now. It gets rid of the Megalo, it gets rid of the Stardust, the Zen mains, I don't know, whatever they're going to attack with, the Sangan, the mermaid person from the Abyss mermaid thingy, I don't know what it's called, my apologies. And you guys get what card I'm talking about, I think. And yeah, you pretty much just set that, you activate it. It's just such a good trap card. 2 to 3 is very optimal in this deck. Bottomless, this deck is very trap heavy. It usually runs like 15 monsters to 20 monsters, maybe less, maybe more. Well, not more than 20. And there's a whole bunch of traps and a little bit of spells. The dark deck I played at regionals was kind of like an anti-meta deck with all darks, and it happened to run like 29 monsters. It didn't run any traps. It ran 29 monsters, 10 spells, and 1 treacherous trap hole. But I can probably do a deck profile for that in a little bit. I think I already did a deck profile actually on that. But if I haven't, I will upload one soon. Bottomless Trap Hole, it's just a good card in this format. There's not too many Chaos Dragons running around, but Light Pulsar is definitely an option with that thing. And Compulse against that wind-up deck, that pesky wind-up deck, and as well as that rabbit deck, it's just such a good card. I'm just gonna go through the traps because I know what you guys all know what to do. Fiendish Chain, I actually am gonna briefly talk about this because Valor is not seeing too much play right now, and due to the fact that Macro Rabbit's running around, that's one of the reasons. And hand traps just aren't good unless you're playing against windups. Maxi is okay against Mermail, but all in all, Valor's just not that good right now. And Fiendish Chain is seeing a lot more play. I just love this card. I love this card ever since like the beginning of the format. Since like YCS Long Beach, I always thought this card was somewhat decent, and it's just better than Valor in my opinion because it's not getting rid of a card from your hand, and you get to keep this on the field. They don't get to attack, and they don't get to do anything else with it until they MST in it. It causes them to use their MST, and I find this card just so powerful. Next, Mirror Force, Torrential, Warning. These cards are all just pretty much good trap cards to run. And then we're going to move on to Starlight Road. Good anti-meta, gets rid of the Heavy Storm, gets rid of JD. And my favorite one, Macro. We all know Macro's beast right now, and this deck can run Macro as well as Banisher. Banisher and Macro are just so strong. And right now it just kills the mermails, it kills the dino rabbit, it kills not the dino rabbit, my apologies. It hurts wind-up somewhat with their rat. It hurts a lot of main decks right now, as well as fairies, as well as mermail, like I said before. Just so many decks that you can think of that use the graveyard. These cards stop it, and that's one of the reasons I feel this deck is somewhat strong right now.